Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros, and thank you for joining me in the very first video we are shooting in the new studio. Today we are taking a look how to replace the air filter for a 2009 BMW 328i. So this is a fairly involved air filter. It's probably the most complicated air filter replacement I've ever done, especially here on the channel. It involves removing the entire air box, and I do go over all of this, but it is still pretty doable in your garage with some time. And I can promise you're going to save some serious cash doing it yourself. The air filter is 10 or 20 bucks. I've left a link down below in the description to that. If you take this to BMW or a shop or something like that, they're charging you anywhere for $100 to $200 just for an air filter, when you could do it for literally a tenth of the price. So with all out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in. The very first thing we're going to do is pop our hood. So we need to come into the driver's footwell, find this black plastic handle and pull it. Then we can come to the front of the vehicle, reach underneath the hood with two fingers. We can prop it up a little bit. And then you're just going to do this kind of motion underneath the hood. There's just a release right there, and lift the hood all the way up. So we're going to remove the intake boot right here, just because it's going to be easier to get our box out. And that is held in with two T20 Torxes. Oh, this one's broken off for me. Okay, take my word for it, you have to remove that one as well. And then we can disconnect the intake boot by just pulling on it. And we can get our intake out of the way. So I've also found that it's easier to just remove this evap tube, and the way you do that is you pinch both sides of it like this, and then just wiggle it off and move it out of our way. Otherwise it's just going to be in the way pretty much for the whole thing. So I just realized there's a fastener underneath the box right here, and there's no way to get at it while the box is still in the car, so we're going to have to take the entire box out, which involves removing that hose clamp and unplugging our mass airflow sensor, which shouldn't be too bad. So a common theme with this car is broken things, and as you can see, the safety for the mass airflow sensor is just missing. So if I had to assume, it probably looks like the regular BMW safety. And there's a little tang you gotta depress. So you push on that and be able to remove it. You can also, what I like to do is just get a small standard screwdriver and put it underneath, right about where my pointer finger is, and then just prying it up while you pull on this, and then it should just come right off. So then we can grab a 6mm socket. Alternatively, you could use a standard screwdriver. I deeply recommend the socket, however. It's gonna make your life much easier. And we can just loosen this. It doesn't have to be all the way loose. Just loose enough to where we can get the boot off like that. It's perfectly fine. So the next thing we can do is remove these two bolts that hold the intake box to the car. Fortunately, again, mine's missing one, but there are two of them. They are 10mm. We can just remove them like that. Maybe I'll try to find a bolt that can go there. Perfect. So then we can maneuver our box. You reach down there and get the intake tube off. There we go, and then we can lift straight up and out. So here's our air filter box, how it was in the car, and as you can see, if you flip it over, there are actually two more fasteners. That's my mistake. I thought there was only the 4 visible, because 4 seems like more than enough, and you'd be able to just remove this piece and be on your merry way, but that is not the way they designed it. So they designed it in such a way that you have to take it out, it's mandatory. So we can just remove those, or at least loosen those last fasteners. I guess you can take this one out too. Actually, you can wait until this step to take all of them out. Might be a little easier for you. It's free. And there we go. The two halves are now separated. And we can remove, obviously this has an aftermarket air filter that was put in who knows how long ago. It's decently dirty. It doesn't really look like it in camera, but I can just tell from here it's decently dirty. I would not use one of these. I would use the paper filters, just because I feel like they do a better job of filtering. I know there's a lot of people who disagree with me on that. That's okay. So we can grab our new air filter, which is an STP 10464. And I will leave a link down below in the description to this or a comparable product that'll work for you, because it is an interesting shape. It's kind of this triangle shape, which is different. We can go ahead and replace our air filter, ensuring it is the correct one. Kind of fits in this little ridge that goes around the air box. like that. Now for this guy, it's a good idea to get in here with like a vacuum cleaner and suck out all the debris, or maybe a damp washcloth and just kind of wipe out all the dirt that's in there. So there we go. You can load it, the air filter, in either side. I find it's easier to do it like this. And grab the bottom of our air box and slide it over our air filter. Just like that. Very cool. So it comes together like this. What's kind of cool about this design is you can make sure that it is fully, you know, clamped shut before it goes into its home. So that's a benefit, I guess. With our two halves together, we can start putting our fasteners back. Make sure those are backed out. We're going to send this guy home. I'm not going to tighten them all down at once though. I'm just going to kind of snug one side and then go to the other side. This will ensure that the thing goes down square. I think it's doing very good. I'm doing these in as much as a cross pattern as I can. And I'm not letting a machine torque these down for me. I'm just going to wrist tight them. I don't really have a torque spec for you, but remember they're just metal screws. They're going into plastic. You can pull those threads out really easy. So just wrist tight. It's perfectly fine. If I find a torque spec, I'll let you know. And again, we're going to do that in as much of a cross pattern as you can. Box is a little bit of an awkward shape, so just do your best. There we go, all our fasteners are tightened. Again, we're missing that one, and I suspect the reason we're missing that one is because somebody over-tightened them and popped the threads out. That's just my guess, though. So when we replace this, we need to put our intake boot over our box here, the fitting for that. And we can just kind of put that in its home loosely. So on that intake boot, just reach in there and slide it over our box while we kind of push it down. Then grab our 6mm socket and tighten up that hose clamp. There we go. Doesn't have to be super tight, just use your best judgment. And then make sure the band of the hose clamp is in that groove. We can grab our mass airflow sensor connector and plug that bad boy in. And again, my safety is missing, but you should be able to plug it in and you'll hear a nice gratifying click when it is on fully. And we can replace these two bolts. Again, I only have one, but make sure you replace both of these guys. Make sure you're not cross-threaded. We can tighten those up. There we go, looks good. And again, make sure you put that one back as well. So then we can plug in our evap tube. It's really easy. You just put it on its home and push it on until you hear that nice click. Then we can replace our intake. Sliding the boot onto the intake box first. Making sure that's nice and secure. And lining up the Torx bolt holes. We replace our T20 Torxes into the intake. And again, it is just metal into plastic. Don't go crazy. Somebody went crazy on this one and now it doesn't work. So just pretend like I did that one, just like this one. Wrist tight is perfectly fine. Now that our air filter has been replaced, not only do we get that amazing sense of accomplishment, we've saved some serious bucks. And we can close our hood, just get it to about here, and then just let it go. It'll be fully closed. You can also verify it's fully closed so it doesn't like blow up on you as you're driving by seeing that this gap you can't get a finger in, so you know that it's fully closed. So that's how to replace your air filter on a 2009 BMW 328i. Thank you so very much for watching. If this video has helped you at all, please leave it a like down below, and I hope I've earned your subscription here today on YouTube. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.